Hello YouTube! So, I'm very excited to talk to you about the TTE 500 Turbo today and everything that led me to get this unit. Small disclaimer, I did receive a discount on the purchase of this product, but as usual I selected what I thought was the best or one of the best on the market, because the other one, in my opinion, is Australian and the only other hybrid I would have fitted to my car, and obviously I in the end decided to protect our European engineering and German technology, so I went with this and TTE. Now let's get to it. First of all, I had to replace my turbo. I always state that you have to take good care of your car and listen to it, and I was understanding that my turbo was not delivering the performance in the same way as it was before. So before it breaking completely, I decided to pull the turbo from the car and to analyze it. And in fact, we had two different failures occurring on this turbo. The first one, and the major, was given from, as I stated in the last video, a hole in an intercooler hose that was given by a bad revision of an intercooler kit from a supplier of us that fixed it. But this led to my turbo, my stock turbo, to overspeed for a time of over 1 month. And when you're driving the car hard, this is really bringing huge temperature issues, and basically the turbo is spinning much faster than what it should to obtain a given boost. Also with this issue, then we went on it and we mapped hard, and if you remember in my power stage videos I did in ACME, we were not managing to achieve the full potential of the cams and everything on this turbo, and I was saying that probably there was something with the turbo itself. So yes, it is. So the main bearing is a bit scored on this turbo, and you can feel it by turning it around. Still, it was not completely bad, but it was already in the descent. And the other thing that went bad, that happens a lot on these cars, is the wastegate actuator now has got play. So this means that you can have fluctuation in how the turbo works. And the door opening, even if the command is constant, is not moving, the door can have some fluctuation, and this brings to fluctuation in the actual turbo's pressure buildup, and therefore it's not working constantly. So this was my old turbo, and reaching out to the TTE, I said, listen guys, I would like to upgrade my turbo, and I would like to have a way of maintaining the quick spool but having a fuller, let's say, high RPM bandwidth, because this turbo was dropping on, obviously with all the problems it has, dropping off on me at like 5,500, 5,800 RPM, and it was just not that much of an enjoyable experience anymore. So they said, well, if you're a rally driver and you're driving on the road all the time, we can offer you a TTE 500 Turbo, because basically you're going to lose 200 or 300 RPM spool-wise, but even this, if you order it with a turbo blanket, could also help in losing less of that, but probably you're going to gain more than 1000 or 1500 RPM of real usable power in the higher parts of the rev range, provided that the engine already has cams and everything. And this is exactly the case. It's perfect for me, because once you're driving fast, 200 or 300 RPM will not make all the difference of the world if you consider that you have another 1000 or 1500 up in the highway. Okay, now let's take a moment to see what is actually real world data from the same dyno at ACME Motorsport. So we're looking at here, CAL 34 was my car with the tire turbo on EZ cams. The Cyvex G25 550 is Matteo Dasso's personal car on full frame turbo. The green line is Cyvex ECU with cams, and nowadays it's just about the same if you use Ecotec, so no problem with that. And then the same car with the addition of the TTE 500 turbo that we're talking about today. So starting from the blue line, you can see that my turbo had problems because yes, it's around 3200 RPM. We were already making the boost, so the turbo was pulled up, but very strangely enough, to a difference of all the other turbos, it still needed about 1000 RPM in order to get to the peak. And then it had many problems in maintaining the torque, and it just went down more than any other one. And this is due to the issues we had on the Westgate. Now, let's go to the Cyvex with cams, with let's say, similar configuration, A cams, but with a turbo that works already. This is a huge difference, both in torque and in power, all around the curve, and we're going at 380 horsepower. We're getting it at 6,204 RPM, that we are here, and then the curve is dropping off. And this is due to the frame of the turbo, and both on the hot and cold sides that are not capable of just flowing that much air. On the other hand, when we add the TTE turbo, basically we are seeing a gap, real world gap, of about 300 to 400 RPM in spool in comparison to the green line, just here. And then we are maintaining the torque from 5000, about 200 RPM, all the way to 7000 RPM on top of that of the green line. And this translates in more power all around the curve. And you see a significant difference once we cross 5500 RPM all the way up to 7000 RPM, or just shy of that, I would say 6700 or 800. And this means that we make here 431 horsepower at 6,609, and still we have some more to come. But look at the difference. I mean, anywhere after the 5,500 mark, basically the stock turbo is leveling out and it's flat, while the other one is going up, and for a lot of time we have basically between 20 and 55 horsepower more where it counts most. And this is why I decided to go with this turbo. And you see also that the Cyvex with the G25 line, so the full frame turbo, that is a huge job to do and install on the car and can be detected and all of that, in the end is not that much more powerful. So what you're getting is basically another 600 or 700 RPM up on the high side, but will that really be worth all the hassle instead of having just a plug and play turbo? This is fearful thought, and this is a justification for my personal purchase, even because I do not want to be spooling again. What I lose here in the spool is what I get on the top, or just 100 or 200 RPMs more. So this would not be the ideal curve for my street going rally / circuit car. And this is my real data, as usual, justification. So how do they actually obtain this? So what they sent me a specification sheet here. And first of all, this turbo is compliant and applicable to the Generation 1 and 2 GR Yaris, and also all the GR Corollas. So this turbo is one turbo fits all cars, like mostly happens on the same engine. Secondly, what do? They have a billet milled 7+7 blade compressor with a 51mm inlet. I will show you some videos of comparison now. And I can tell you that with my digital caliber here, we have a 50 overall inlet, but the actual compressor inlet down in the middle is something like 45, more or less. I need to bring another gauge in, but it's about 45. And here on the other side, this is all milled all the way down. It's actually 56.9, and it tapers down, but very, very little. So yeah, with the part inside that it has and a bit of clearance with the blades, I understand that the blades are 51 millimeters inside. Bigger 9-blade high flow inertia turbine. And upgrade bearing pack that is a genuine bearing from IHI, but it's upgraded, and I can see that there is this billet milled feeder for the oil intake and return lines, and then therefore you can understand that it does attach to the usual tubes and connections that you have on the OEM car, but on the other side it has been milled because it's an operated version of this. Then we have, of course, the genuine IHI actuator that is just reused, or depending if it's a good one, or provided as new as a full unit. And a CNC optimized compressor cover that is this one, as we said, it's all much bigger all the way through to the blades of the compressor itself. Here also we have the outer compressor duct that is milled to the same exact dimension as the inner part. And yes, this makes for a completely OEM and issue-free installation. The only thing you're gonna have to do is to bring your diverter valve across to the new turbo, and maybe we can do that in a few minutes. 3 screws, super easy. They provide new screws for you. You just make sure that you put some thread lock on them, and maybe I'll do it in a fast forward just down here in the video. So what can you actually expect apart from the power bandwidth in terms of raw power from this turbo? So despite it being called 500, the actual turbo can bring you 400 horsepower on a stock engine with cams, springs and retainers. That's the minimum I would suggest, and of course a new oil sump like the one from GR Racing, or sump baffle kit from Landspeed. That is always a must. And 430 horsepower or more on 102 octane fuel. Of course, this depends a lot on what your supporting mods are and what you want to do in terms of engine internals, because of course we are still on the stock engine internals. We're pushing it and we want to see, you know, we've talked a lot about the LSPI issue and everything, and we want to see how far we can go while maintaining the engine sound and stock. But I would not advise going over 400 horsepower on the stock pistons for a longer duration of the engine. And also the torque for the gearbox and the transfer case, I would keep it around 500, 520, 530, but not much over that, because you're gonna be putting too much strain. As usual, like all the stock cars, you know, they are engineered in a way that, yes, they could achieve, as you can see from the stage 1 maps nowadays, much more power, but you have to give yourself some headroom, because all the power you achieve today, you're actually taking it away from the longevity of the engine. So already here we're talking of making 400 horsepower for real numbers on an engine, a motor that was intended for 260 horsepower, more or less. So this already is a huge thing. So what I will do now is I will install the diverter valve on the new one, and in the next days we will get this installed in the car, and we will make another video on how it works out with the mapping and what it comes to. And yeah, so that pretty much wraps it up. And by the way, I saw that I was looking at the analytics today, and I saw that less than half than the people that actually watch our videos are subscribed to the channel. So if you are enjoying this content, please subscribe to the channel and put a like to this, because it costs nothing and it helps us a lot. 8,100 subscribers today and counting. Thank you very much. Have a good one.